Okay, folks, welcome back. We're going to try it again with the computer. It's been about 10 days since the last time we tried it, and it did not go well. Nothing that I know that I can fix on my end. It's just the mysteries of the internets. I'm going to do some maintenance here and pick some of this stuff up so I can get my work area back. It's sitting high. It's bitching every time I lean. Okay. So we're going to work on a couple different things this morning. And I did find where my pennies were. They were in a place I would have never found them, but I left them there. They were in my closet. Like, what the hell? What are the pennies? Pennies need to come out of the closet. Mr. Ben, welcome back. So we've got some sticks that we've stained, and now they've stained for a few days. So I've just forgotten about it. It's really hard for me to do this stuff on a work morning. I'm gonna go ahead and let's close up shop on this thing. Hard to tell what is and what isn't on it. Yeah, when I do something in the middle of the night, I'm like, I'll do that in the morning. I'll remember at work. I'll be like, great. Well, I'll do it at lunchtime. Then I come back home for lunch. I forget about it. Time is just at a super premium in those areas. Super, super premium. And a piggy bank, yeah. No, I actually paid for something in cash the other day. I know it was a miracle. And I didn't know what to do with the change. Okay. So, let's get... I probably can use this. I need to use this as a lower level. I just don't want it on top. I can't make sense of what is and isn't. And I got quite a bit of wood here. Yeah, so I was looking at all the footage. Oh, and I noticed that Normandy, the issue 131 finally dropped last night. I bought it and looked at 2 articles and fell asleep. So we'll take a look at that today. War Games, Soldiers, and Strategy. I know, I probably had this idea that it's going to be better than it actually is. I was watching a couple of videos there by Historicon. People had taken of Historicon. And I realized I didn't miss going. I mean, I didn't see any games that I'm like dying to play in. Mr. Hugh, happy weekend to you too, sir. Yes, I did assume your gender. Hey, if you want to be a Mrs., you better change your first name, pal. Hopefully this feed works okay for you guys. Oh, hello. All right, let's pull and see what we have in the basement of liquid here. We have these matchsticks that we put in very dark water. We're not going to do anything with them, but let's dump this before something catastrophic happens. I'd say I don't need to dump this. I could just reuse it for something else, but I don't think I'm going to need more wood than this. This is extreme. As a matter of fact, I probably need to do this in a different manner. Let's see how this goes. It's like the sludge on the bottom of a bay. All I gotta do is find like some mini oysters or something like that. I don't really mind if they're that stuck, if some of them are stuck together. We got a lot in here. Let's do a couple things. Maybe that's a reason why people watch live. I could have like a massive spill at any moment. Oh my gosh. I got the paper towels stolen from me. All right, I'll be right back. I got people here that like to take the paper towels from my room because it's easier than getting it out of the garage. It's okay, I don't need the whole roll here. Let's move these things. Let's move these things out. There's lots of things I do right. One of the things I do wrong is I'm real bad about cleaning these on a regular basis. I'll dump them in water. I could have done this another way, but I don't have enough caffeine in me to think that far ahead. Yeah, so I watched all the several Historicon things, and I'm like, I don't mind not going. It's not even a cost thing. I have so many limited days off that I just don't feel like using a big percentage of them on that show. Yeah, this is sludgy and then some. I can't just rinse this in water because I bet some of this paint will come out. Oh boy, we got some good stuff here. And I want them kind of different colors anyways, so the fact that some of them are lighter than others, these better not be stuck together or they're going to get permanently stuck because the paint is thick there. So we're going to work on this. We're going to get these things out of this liquid, and then we'll go and we're going to retrofit some of these figures that are sitting out here and finish up their stands. I thought about doing the British Tank Crew. I just don't feel like doing them right now and get the wet palette. The wet palette's in a garage somewhere. I think I know where it is. I don't need them for this scenario. Yeah, so if this is like light color, you could like use it to paint other shit. I don't know that I'm gonna throw that away. That might actually have some use. I am gonna go ahead and put this away and this away. Anything exciting happened with you guys this week? It was a weird week. Half the week I was solo, and we're back with all hands on deck. All right, what's in here? A similar cacophony of filthiness. except this one's more black. So the other night I actually laid out some, you know, if it gets on this bottom one, it gets on this bottom one. I laid out some of the buildings with some of these things and the bricks, and I'm pretty pleased with how they turned out. And that's the thing, is that there was lots of people that had different terrain that I saw in some of those videos. And I didn't like any of what they did better than my own, so that's good. That's the only thing that's discouraging, is I'll see something and I say, man, I should have done it the way that person did. I mean, it's fine. It's not like, you know, it's a bad thing. It's just, it'll make me want to question what decisions I made and make me want to start over and fix it. Yeah, we got some, maybe they're not that different, but this is definitely more black. I started laying some of the stuff out with bricks, and I'm like, it's a good thing I got 16,000 bricks, because I'm going to need it. It's either that or you just have smaller piles of the stuff. Somebody watching this now is going to be, is he making Turkish coffee? No. There can't be that many people using enamels these days. That's just hard to work with when you've got the stuff that's basically non-toxic. You don't want to pour it in your eyes. A couple sludgies down here. Ah, yes, anything here? No, we got them all. Okay, we should be able to. Yeah, there are still a couple bricks down here. See if we can salvage a couple of these bricks. There's maybe a dozen of them down here. I don't want to lose a dozen right off the bat. You saw that Joella also makes a range of junk items like old rail wheels, burnout cars, rusted barrels. Yeah. Yeah, they make, it's too difficult for me to get it. You know, there's nowhere in the States that has it. Shipping has just gotten out of hand. Big time out of hand. And speaking of shipping, I got something I bought from eBay that was supposed to be here about a week ago and got told it was going to deliver on Wednesday. I don't know if you remember me commenting on it. It didn't get here on Wednesday. And then it said it got handed off to a local post office for delivery on Thursday. And it's out for delivery. Didn't deliver on Thursday, didn't deliver today, and it still says out for delivery. So there's some fuckery afoot. I'm telling you, every time there's a fuck up, it's the post office involved. It's the U.S. post office involved. There might be other people involved that fucked it up too, but I don't have any confidence in these ass clowns here. Any business that does not have competition, there isn't a second post office. It's not like, okay, well, let me use the National Postal Service instead of the federal one. No, you don't get a choice. You get the one that you get. Anytime there's something like that, it's bad for the consumer. Well, luckily, I'm not in a hurry for it, but I would like to get it. I mean, I did pay for it, you know. I don't know if this is worth salvaging. I got like crumbly bits. I do want to get in this mixture, I do want to get some talus, but I don't want to buy it online. Some, that maybe shows the parts of the stuff of the wall or whatever. It could, so that it's not all the rubble isn't that color. You saw that Airfix makes a Polish bank, but it's only the facade and little the inside, so it'd be a bunch of work to make it usable for wargaming. That's like the beginning of a joke. What do Poles keep in their bank? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know exactly what's going on here. Let's see if I can get some of that. Okay, we salvaged that one. Polish bank. I just finished reading, and speaking of bank, I just finished reading another book, or having a book read to me this last week. It was the Killing the Rising Sun book. I'm enjoying those books, even though as you get older, you start to question everything. Or you question things that you never questioned before. And I'm starting to question factual information that's like really obvious shit. And if they get that wrong, you're like wondering, okay, well, if any fool could have noticed that this was the wrong information, what wrong information's in here that I didn't notice because it's more obscure? Uh-oh. You know what? I probably need to have my feed on my phone running so that if it drops, hey, Victor, I don't know if you're still on, but you have a weird icon. There's a weird icon over here behind you. I hope that doesn't mean that it's because we had problems about 10 days ago on this. So let me see if I can pull this off. I need to, let's see how we do this, because that'll be a good double check, because that's what happened the other day is, like, I was on for like an hour, my feed had dropped, I didn't know about it, and it didn't notify me. It still showed that it was running. Let me put my phone, I don't need it on a mount per se, but let me go ahead and sign in. Oh, it's about the eBay package? Yeah, who knows if I'm going to get it here. I got a good deal on it. You guys want to know what it is? No, it's not that exciting. It's just something I found out wasn't available anymore. So let's do this. Let me go on I should be able to pull this off. Let me go on, probably the easiest way is sign in as incognito, if I remember how to do that on this. New incognito, continue. Okay, and then I'll go to YouTube. And Tony AG. Okay, so here's my channel. No, I'm not going to subscribe to myself. If I'm going to subscribe to myself, I can't do that on video. Okay. Now there is a little bit of a delay. Let me make this big. Okay, cool. So now I can see that I'm filming myself with a little bit of a delay. So I just want to make sure that that's running. And this is on mobile, right? I want this on mobile so I'm not consuming my own feed. Yeah, I rarely turn on. I don't ever turn Wi-Fi on at home ever. I mean, unless something has to run on Wi-Fi, I don't use Wi-Fi at home. So, okay. Is this salvageable? We got some little bricks here. If not, we're gonna just throw this away. Because this turned out, I wish I had done an unboxing on the Jawila stuff. Because this looks, I mean, this is the color I would have wanted to get. You can't get this. You know, custom made. Maybe this is okay. Charred brick. Victor, you ready to come back to work? We don't talk about work here. We don't talk about work here. I wonder how many people are defined by what they do for a living. I find it really weird. I find that a weird. I would probably guess more than half the people. More than half the people are like, let's say they're a lawyer and everything they do is lawyer, So I read an article about it. I was on yesterday morning before I went into work. I just decided to do a search about, how it'd be if people that are defined by, what they do for a living. And somebody's comment, let me see if I can do this correctly, in this article was like, next time you're at a gathering and somebody says, ask the common question, what do you do? This person's suggestion was, I travel. And when people go, what? Well, you're not defined by what you do for a living. I mean, sure, we're doing that most of the time, but, I'm going to try that. Next time I go around people that I don't know, and somebody asks me what I do, and I'm kind of vague about what I talk about because I don't want to spend the rest of the evening talking about what I get paid to do and get frustrated by for 50 or so hours a week. I'm going to tell them I travel. What do you do? I play war games. I paint little men. No, I don't want to tell them that either. It's too difficult to explain. People don't know what the hell this is, and there's just no hope for them. There's no hope for people. You have to explain this stuff to them, and they can't comprehend it. Okay, so now let's grab another one of these. That's where this other one came from. Snapdragon. Let's retrofit some of these old figures while those things are drying. I don't need a huge piece, but something like this. I'm going to try that. And then if they try to phrase the question like, what do you do for a living? I said I work so that I can paint figures or read history or whatever. Totally dodge the question. My dad was not that way. He was very proud of what he went to school for. But the problem is let's say you do something that you love, or you think that you're going to love before you do it. Oh, we're going to have a philosophical, have a drink, Philosophical discussion today. No, my dad really liked what he did for a living, what he studied, his career. And but let's say you have dead set in your mind what you want to do for a living before you go to college, right? You go to college for it, and then you do a lot of stuff that you think is related to it, but they make you do a bunch of stuff that you're not necessarily interested in. So, like for me, if I'm like I really like history, like I want to be a history teacher, right? So to go through college, assuming I was allowed to do history, which I wasn't, and it was a good thing, um, you'd have to write a bunch of papers, which I absolutely detest writing papers. I absolutely detest. I love learning about new shit. It has nothing to do with that. But it's just, I don't like writing about stuff that I'm wondering if somebody's even paying attention to what I'm writing. I don't, like, let's say this show, okay? I'm doing my stuff. If you guys don't watch it, don't care how I paint things, I don't care because I'm kind of plugging away at something that I enjoy doing. I don't enjoy writing. So if I'm writing for other people and you're not reading my stuff, that's just like, I'm kind of scarred, and I touched upon this the other day. I'm kind of scarred. I think people can get scarred by things that happened to them as a child, that you don't want to relive as an adult. And for me, it was writing sentences. Okay, as a adolescent, I got to do a lot of things that I did a lot of things I wasn't supposed to do. Nothing severe. But the punishment for me was to write sentences. So I detest busy work. I absolutely, as soon as I find out something's busy work, I'm like, fuck it, I don't want to do it. Fire me. I'll go do something else. I am not interested in doing busy work. Just for the sake of, doing it and then like, okay, well, that's nice. Now go do something else. Like to keep me busy. Like, you want to keep me busy, I'll work on my figures. I got lots to do, man. I got lots of stuff I want to do and need to accomplish for me to just do stuff that's just going to be set off to the side. I don't know if that makes any sense, but so that's like the worst thing you could give me. And like making me write something just because you have to, that's why I never did a science project in school. Okay, so you want me to do a science experiment that I have to try to find out something that you're not really interested in what I actually find out. It's just a process that I'm going through. And I have to pick something that's kind of already figured out so that I don't try to take on like, the meaning of life. What my science project's on the meaning of life, something that's never been solved by anybody. So it's like, it's just busy work. I get to tell them to call a number and they can find out firsthand. Might as well get paid if I'm explaining my work to someone. Yeah, I have to explain things to a lot of people that don't listen. So I really don't like, that was a sub thing in DBA that I don't want to do it anymore. I got tired of explaining things to people that, you get done playing a game and maybe we did everything right in the game, right? But there's people that don't watch the video, want to read the rules one time and figure it out and have to explain stuff. I just got tired of it. I really got tired of it. That was one of the things. There's several things. All right, let's find these, the three culprits, which are chocolate brown. You guys should know what this is. Nope, not English uniform. Iraqi sand, and the middle tone, which is U.S. Field Drive, I believe is what it's called. There it is. But you're so good at explaining things sometimes. You know what I'm talking about. I don't have to tell you about it. How's the new place going? Hopefully it's going well. Hopefully you don't have to deal with the other two people that work at that place. That's it. That's all I'm going to talk about. I'm not defined by what I do for a living. Even though we spend most of our life there. Okay. Some people are really good at explaining things. I'll never be as good as, what's his face, that teacher that we had, Joe Dodlin. You're having a blast. One was fired. Well, it wasn't you, so. Hopefully. One was fired. Who was it? Well, it was me. Worst thing about a job is looking for a job. Okay. So these guys already have the chocolate brown on them. There's some lighting that's off. There we go. That's a little bit better. I like I said, one was fired. Now, you mean he was let go? Oh no, they canned his ass. So now you work at a place where they actually fire people, because they don't fire them where we work. Doesn't seem like it. We need something else. We're gonna have a situation. This can be ugly. We can just rip us off a little piece like that. I don't want to get the wet palette out here. And we're just gonna go over the dirt on this guy, this little Nazi. See if somebody stops subscribing to my channel because I call my Germans Nazis. I know that they all weren't, but I'd rather err on that side than be like that one guy. It's like the defenders of Europe. I'm gonna get the paint. I'm gonna paint some SS at some point, and then we're gonna call them all kinds of nice names. And my people weren't even any of the demographics that were hunted down by any of these folks. Well, they'd eventually get to us, if they run out of bodies, literally. There was a post on Facebook by this one guy that I don't know him. We just have common interest. But he always has kind of interesting posts, funny posts and stuff like that. And he made some kind of post. This really kind of pissed me off. He didn't piss me off. He actually doesn't say things that piss me off. But he put this post with that said about, Germans in Argentina with names. Like, he had like this post that said, you guys may have seen it. It's kind of split. It has like a Toreador, the guys that the bullfighter. On the left, and on the right it had what looked like a Nazi uniform, and underneath the Toreador it says Argentinian's first name, and underneath the German uniform it said Argentinian's last name. And my response was I was going to find a picture of Mussolini, right, and put it, and that's literally I posted it and said or this. And posted that on there, right? Just adding on and not creating any controversy. And within 10 seconds, I get an email that my post has been removed. The picture of Mussolini's been removed. And here's the problem I have with it. You can go on Facebook and make GIFs and memes already within Facebook with Joseph fucking Stalin already in them. Okay, I can see your argument where you're like, okay, you can use Stalin but not Hitler. But you can use Stalin but not Mussolini? I mean, Mussolini was a dictator, but he was a nice fucking guy compared to those other two. So, fuck you, lizard boy, and your AI. It's different if you're promoting that shit. But I don't like any dictators at all. Most of them aren't even good dressers. What do we got to say? Because I work from home. Oh, here we go. Because you work from home, we almost only ever interact versus teams. I fucking hate teams. the little MSN type messaging things. Sometimes people just disappear from there and never heard from again. I hate Teams. I wish to pick up the phone. So I found a way to work for Teams to work better, because we have this communal room where they have this big TV and they like getting lots of people on the teams, and they've kind of gone away from that a little bit. You know, because like we're like on video, but no, everybody else you're talking to isn't. Like, how convenient. But the problem is I don't hear well, and the speaker on the TV faces the wall, and it's literally inches from the wall. So I'm getting like recoil of the sound, so I can't hear any. And a lot of people can't enunciate. So what I've started doing with Teams is I'll just feed it through my computer, you know, at my desk, and there's a number you can call in, and then I pick up the phone and I'm listening it to through the phone, and then I'm okay. I'm okay with Teams that way. But on this big communal screen that I can't understand. I mean, I don't care if people see me, you know, like, you guys are seeing me now, you know, but and I'm dressed fancier than at work, you know, but I just can't understand, you know. There's a lot of people enunciate your fucking words, dude. You know, are you like trying to obfuscate what you're saying? Yes, that's actually a word I use. Fuck you, Zucker turd. Well, I almost put on there. Fuck the Zuck. I don't think it's him. It's just that AI shit. You know, it's not even a person. A normal person, you know, could, you know, you get one of these left-wing nutcases and be like, you know, oh, we need to get rid of all dictators. You can't put any pictures of dictators. Okay, fair enough. You know, you can't put Castro or Pinochet or Hitler or Stalin or any of those guys, Mussolini. I get it. Pol Pot, whatever the fuck he looks like. I get it. Be consistent. But you're going to put the questionably worst mass murderer. You can't, you can put pictures of him, but you can't put anybody who's, you know, you can't put Mussolini on there. Come on. I'd have painted Italians just to piss him off. Put pictures of my Italians. I got some good scenarios with Italians in them. And I almost picked up some figures, but I'm smart enough not to get... This is as much of a sidetrack as I'm willing to do. Like, I've already got these ready to go. You know, I got one figure I'm promised for Hoffman. We're gonna paint the Hoffman here. German rifleman named after him. And maybe we'll roll into the British tank crew. It's better not to have any plans. Just kind of wing it. But these particular figures were painted for the scenario that I ran in 2004, so for sure they're 20 years old at the most. These newest figures are 20 years old. And then we're going to put tufts on these guys in a few places instead of static grass. Yeah, see, none of you guys have typed anything, but I've got my feed going down here, so I know we're good. You guys can be quiet. We know where to find you. Not me. Just means you can't spill any alcohol at the table. At least for another year. What does that mean? Spill any alcohol at the table. Hold on, I need to get rid of that bloody heart. Spill any alcohol at the table, at least for another year. What's that mean? I'm almost ready. Okay, so I want to talk through you guys. Ben, you're here. You'll get this because you've heard me talk about the game before. I had a epiphany. You know, we've talked about how the game works with the chits and the orders and all that kind of stuff, right? Until they're 21. Oh. Not in my culture. My parents were super strict about all kinds of shit. Like, you gotta be home by 9:30 and shit like that. Never had a problem with me having a drink at the table with them. You know, obviously not 7 years old, but like Thanksgiving, I was like 14 or 15 or have some wine. I never killed anybody. Worst thing about this country. They're absolutely pussies when it comes to... You can't say pussy? Yeah, I can. It's one of my favorite vocabulary words. Who doesn't like pussy? It's just part of our culture, you know? It's not a problem in Britain either. It's just these freaking Puritans that they got kicked off on this freaking ship at 1620. It's like, we don't like your rules. Fine. Fucking go off somewhere and get eaten by Indians, you know? Then they built this country over here. You buckle-shoed, wearing bastards. By the by, I picked up a copy of the modern version of Face of Battle. Haven't dived into it yet. The core mechanics should be the same. They should be the same. And I really like it. So we've talked about the mechanics of how the choices come. And there's different ways to play the game. The game originally is made so you make a deck of cards, okay? And you make a card where each card is a person's action. But the problem is shuffling that, they're going to get fucked up. I'm the world's worst shuffler. And I've tried to watch videos to improve it, and maybe I just don't want to improve it better than I can. But I'm terrible at shuffling. And they focus on having both sides flip a card over at the same time, so one guy is not sitting around and waiting. But really, your one action doesn't take that long. So like, just be patient and just do it. I would rather the game be like, it's like like when you're on stage, okay, and you've got that spotlight on one person, like, okay, it's this person's turn. What does he do? Okay, well, he moves. All right, and he moves this far. Okay, now I pull a card out. Okay, now it's this one over here. And it handles that way. So I was thinking about grenades, okay? And the way the game goes is, let's say this guy's turn up and he wants to throw a grenade over here. So he rolls for it. It either lands and deviates or whatever, and it does its business, right? How about this? And remember, each person, let's just say they're average soldiers, almost in every situation, they're two actions per soldier per turn, per game turn. Now, the game turn in this is like, they're like 5, 6, 7, 8 turns. They're not like, 27 turns. So it's just a little snippet of action within this. So, like, for instance, you've got, say these guys right here. How many are here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6. So if this is what was fighting, there would be 12 chits in there, right? You pull one out. Oh, it's Brant's. Okay, so Brant's action. Okay, you put that one away. Now there's only 11 chits in there, right? You could pull another Brant again. Okay, it's possible. It's not likely, but it's possible. Or this guy could go and do that. So. An interesting thing is there's not really a mechanism for when you throw a grenade and there's time for guys to get out of the way because it explodes immediately in the game. So how about this? Say Brant throws a grenade, right? Because this is only like 5 seconds of action. When you're done through a whole turn, it's only like 5 seconds. How about when you throw a grenade, well, it's not necessarily 5 seconds, but the most this guy could move at full speed is 5 inches for each, 5 inches per turn, and 5 inches translates into 10 meters. So If he moved twice in a turn, he could cover 20 meters. All right. So if you think about it that way, that's really what we're talking about. So what kind of time is that? It's kind of vague. So here's my idea on the grenades. So he goes and he throws a grenade, right? And you take another chit that's called grenade one and you add it to the pile of the chits. Now, and when it's time to, so, and his turn's done. So now you pull another chit, it could be that grenade one, okay? And the reason why it's called grenade one, because there could be many grenades in play, right? It could explode immediately by pulling that grenade thing out. Or some other people could get their turn in and then explode. It could get really interesting. So I think I'm going to I think I'm going to test that theory with a really small game. I'm going to do something like what I call a sniper hunt. And I've actually done a little sniper hunt scenario with the other set of rules by North Star called Firefight Normandy. And I prefer this set of rules than Firefight Normandy because when you've got some squad leaders and stuff, you have some options to control some of the chaos. But do something like, a couple of fire teams, like 3 fire teams have to go hunt like 1 fire team of a sniper or something like that. And just see how that works. Where you've got, maybe 10 figures on the table total. And just see how that works with grenades. Because I think that would make it really interesting. And then it means I can't call what I play the face of battle anymore. I'd have to come up with another name. And I already have a name for it. Not to market it, but, I don't want, this is the opposite of DBA where you're going to play this certain way that, well, there's problems with this. If there's a way to improve the game that makes it more streamlined, that's a way to do it. Could you do it that it goes off when his next chit is pulled, going over the turn if it's second action? Could do that. You could do that. That's also an option. Yeah. Don't throw grenades really close to yourself or they're going to go off immediately at your feet. Yeah, that's another option. But you're talking about that's not a lot of figures in play. Okay, well when you're talking about a battlefield that could look like this. Okay? And by this I mean let's take a look at this. I know we've looked at it before, but let's really take a look at this. And you see why I need to play an anal retentive type game like this if you're gonna go through all the effort of painting this. So you've got this city block. This almost looks like something off of Sesame Street. Can you tell me? No, I can't tell you how to get there. It's in Stalingrad or something. You've got a way in. So you've got windows down here. You've got this level 1, which is not where you enter it, through the front anyways. And you've got a staircase here that brings you into this. And once you get inside of here, this is like a battle in and of itself. Holy Pavlov's house, Batman, You walk in and you're in this room, okay? And in this room, you've got doors that are here that I guess lead to some room that's in here that eventually has this stairway that goes down to this level. So there's a stairway here and no way to get to it. So it's obvious that inside these double doors, there'd be like little cardboard. I'm just telling you, you could have like a whole, imagine this is like a dungeon adventure. Like you're playing like a role-playing game and this is your dungeon. You have to clean this thing out, Really, really interesting. Really, really interesting. So, yeah, this thing has a shit ton of detail. So, you've got a couple windows here that are inside this doorway. So you got to walk in this doorway. There's a little room in here. That also, by the way, has a ladder to go into. There's all kinds of nooks and crannies in this. This is just like, you got to have that kind of detail. Or you're going to have all that stuff that's going to be represented in a miniature and just doesn't get used. That doesn't represent anything. Like, I can't imagine using a building like that for like rapid fire. Like, that's just silly, just a waste, you know? I mean, if you want to, that's fine, but anyhow, so I was thinking, because it's all about grenades, okay? And it's all about grenades, and it's not like we're playing those other games where you got to figure that it's this big and the grenade only goes this far. No, the grenades will go like, I forget exactly how far it is, but they go pretty far. They deviate and stuff like that. If you see vehicles on the board, like, okay, this vehicle shouldn't be this close to this, because once you get closer than about so, the main armament can't actually hit this guy. He's got to be farther than that. So, of course, if you're shooting individual figures, you're not going to use the main gun. That's like, you pull 175 millimeter round to take out one guy. No, that's what they're clumped up. So, anyhow, just some brainstorming there. I was just thinking about that the other day. I'm like, oh, that'd be kind of an interesting way to handle that. Again, it's just a theory. Have to see if it works in practice. But I got to try this a couple times on my own. It's not a complicated game. It's a very multifaceted game. And it's things where, okay, this isn't included in it. Okay, let's add that on there. Like that minimum distance, I'm sure it's not in the game. But that's just something that's really easy. And you can just start off like, you figure out what the distance is with Sherman's, okay? And Sherman's, the gun is a certain amount of distance off the ground. It can depress this much. Use your trigonometry and figure out, okay, well, you can't be within 25. If you're closer than 15 meters or something like that, you can't get hit by the main armament. The main armament can't shoot a target closer than 15 meters from itself, kind of thing. And by the time you don't have to figure out every damn vehicle right off the bat, just the ones that you're using one at a time. And that kind of stuff is honestly kind of fun to figure out for me. Yeah. But I haven't played yet. That's why you guys haven't seen it. I haven't even set up the battlefield yet. This always happens. The girls leave for a week, and I'll be like, oh, I have all these great ideas to do this, and we'll do the other thing, and we'll do something else, and it just never happens. Well, in this case, we had some people coming in from out of town, and I needed to go like interact with them. Yeah, I don't mind. It's just that, and it just actually doesn't bother me now. Like the first time it happened, I was really disappointed. Like, man, I thought I was going to be able to do this, and this, and the other, but it's more of a problem when you've got like, well, I got to get this army done for this tournament. I don't have to get this done ever, If I never play this game, I never play this game. That's not my intent, but I'm not going to be stressed out by the production values and the timetable that I may need to do this. I don't want to play this in the garage right now. It is too hot, and I have an insulated garage, and it's way too hot out there. So maybe in a couple months, anyways. Certainly the winter. It'll be invitation only when we get it running. And if you complain once about it being too cold, fuck you. You're not coming back. I'm not dealing with people that complain about being cold in Florida. Put on some underwear, pal. Okay, this is Brant, who has a rifle grenade. We got two guys left. Bloom, the radio operator. Yeah, and interesting, did the deep dive on the figures. I saw some figures I wouldn't mind painting, like wounded guys. Like, that's perfect for a scenario. You got to go in and save so-and-so. For that sort of thing, I keep drifting over to game-mastered games instead of purely rules-driven ones. Yeah. Yeah, it's just going to be, you burn too much time. Hey, can we have everybody leave the room so I can talk to the guy running the game? No, there's none of that. Just say that open. You guys are all on the same team. And I'm not a person that is, I don't want to create this scenario to kill everybody off. That's not, it just, here's this scenario. Let's see what happens. Not one of those people. I want to do it to see what kind of interesting shit happens. And there's a lot of things you can't control, but there is some things you can control. So you need to play your hand as best you can. Yeah, the focus of the game is basically on the narrative, not like trying to outdo the other players. You know, you want to outdo the other players, go play something else. You know, it's not that you're not trying to be competitive. It's just that that's not really what the purpose is. Wounded miniatures would be perfect for the ending of Cross of Iron when they load everyone into the trucks as the Soviets are rolling in. I need more wounded guys though. I don't remember that. I have a really short-term memory when it comes to like plots of things. To give you an example, I um I don't watch things multiple times. That's probably another reason. We're gonna go see the daughter wants to go see the Deadpool movie today, so I caught part of it when she was watching with a friend of hers at the house and never seen it before of the first one. I don't remember most of the second one. So last night we watched part of it because we're supposed to watch that at noon, just to kind of as a refresher. And there's all kinds of stuff I didn't remember. So I don't remember that part of Cross of Iron. I saw Cross of Iron within the last year. I don't remember the wounded part. That and sometimes I'll run across movies that I don't think I've seen before, but I'm like, I remember this scene. I had seen it. Like there was this one movie that's about Germans on the Eastern Front or something like that. I don't know what the hell it's called. It's on Netflix or Amazon. It's on one of those two. It's probably Amazon. And I started watching. I'm like, I've seen this before. I've seen this part. You said wounded getting carried away. It reminded me of like there's like these guys that are in trucks and they're obviously reenacting kind of stuff. And they're like in these trucks and they get hit by mortar fire. And then they run into the woods. And it's like, oh yeah, this is the movie where they capture a couple Soviet girls and they bring them along with. And it's like, you know, I don't remember the title. I remember that it was blah. You know, it wasn't anything great. But you know, I forgot that I had watched it. It just wasn't that memorable. So I don't remember the wounded guys in Cross of Iron getting hauled off. Um, these guys already have the edge painted, so we don't need to do that with these guys. What do we do? Black on the edge? Yeah, it makes sense. I've gone to putting black on the edge. Just makes them stand out. I've fallen short of doing that on vehicles. I may do that in the future, but I haven't done it yet. All right, so this is the Iraqi sand. Yeah, it's happened several times. You know, I'm like, I've seen this. Where have I seen this? I watched this movie before. It also doesn't help that lots of movies out there have really vague names. Really, really vague names. Like one of the movies that was recommended to me by Bitch was just called 1944, and it's like in the what's that pocket? That pocket, Kurland. I believe it's in Kurland. The Kurland pocket. But 1944, hell, it could be, you know, Iwo Jima. It could be Normandy. It could be, you know, it could be anywhere else. But I was reading that book, like I was saying earlier, that I finished off, the Killing the Rising Sun. And there's a part in it where it talks about the Soviets going and invading Manchuria, you know, at the very end of the war, actually after the first atomic bomb was dropped. And it was talking about, you know, the tanks that they had. It said they had 1,000 Sherman and Tiger tanks. You know, I'm like, they didn't have any Tiger tanks that went in there. I mean, did the Soviets capture Tiger tanks? Absolutely. They didn't send any to Manchuria. I would put a significant amount of money on that. They're not going to take a vehicle they're not familiar with, which was unreliable, and works on gasoline as opposed to diesel, and send it all the way to Manchuria when they've done fighting the Germans. Like you're going to send T-34-85s out there. And then they're going to stay out there for the Korean War. No, but I mean, it's like, if something that obvious gets missed, I'm like, I wonder what else is wrong with this book that I'm just not aware of. So, but I tell you what, I was kind of piqued to learn more about the Pacific War. So I might pick up another book on the Pacific War, a little bit more specific, and read about that. I have read one of the books that I have read, because I always say this, that I get books and I don't read them. They put me to sleep. Is that Guadalcanal book by Richard Frank. And I remember I read that many years ago, maybe 30 years ago, maybe longer than that. I did finish that whole thing. Of course, I was reading it for the purpose of doing scenarios to fight around Guadalcanal, naval scenarios. It's got enough detail to come up with those scenarios. But I haven't read anything else on the Pacific other than that. And broad stuff, not really specific. So we'll see. Oh, we have to do a little bit of cleanup there. Shit happens. Just a little bit of the brown on his name. This was a little bit more difficult than it should have been, because that had this flocking that was already there, and I had to try to scrape off as much as I could. And that woodland scenic flock is kind of like foam. It's basically little pieces of foam, and it doesn't come off really well. It's kind of a pain to deal with. Yeah, but the wounded miniatures, I'd be like, what the hell am I going to do with this guy? Well, have a use for him. I don't think I have any wounded Soviets that are just sitting around waiting. I guess they probably got shot by the 6 or 7. How many commissars I got? Like 5 or 6 of them for sure. Woo! Too much. Flamethrower. Flamethrower goes like freaking this. Well, it goes as far as grenades. Now, you got a flamethrower on the table. You want to see him crisp stuff up. There's no point in having that guy and not fire. It'd be like playing a scenario with a battleship and it's just sitting there getting bombed by aircraft. Like, no. It needs to be firing its guns at things and blowing things up. That's what I came here for. That's what I never understood about Star Trek. I'm not a science fiction person, anyways, but you've got this, we'll call it a battleship for lack of a better word, that goes on this exploring mission. And it's like, I don't give a fuck about exploring. I want to see freaking combat. You know, we're gonna make a show about the HMS Hood in the 1930s, and it's going around the world and and showing the flag. No, I want to see it. Fighting things. You know. That's what we're here for. All right, let's get a little bit of this chocolate brown. That should have worked for this. So normally the way I would do this, I would cut these into little strips, paint the whole thing the background color. Then I put with a little bit of Elmer's and glue the name. But unless I wanted to redo the whole thing, I just paint it around with their green. If it pisses me off, I'll just take it off and repaint it and do it. I do want it to look neat. Go through all this effort. All right, now we're going to use the same one. And folk art black should be just fine. Oh, let's start remembering to do this. There's no point in squeezing that stuff out. Well, this will just work just fine. This is actually fairly decent craft paint. The folk art one. Well, this folk art color. And the white one's not bad either. The black and the white folk art paints are actually really good. They cover pretty well. And we're just going to start at the edge. Oh, we need more substance than that. Let's switch to this, so it stays alive a little bit better. I don't mind the cardboard for the dry brushing because it soaks up some of the moisture, and that's actually helpful. The consistency of this is almost like a Liquitex squeeze type paint. Okay. And I like using this craft paint because first of all, it's cheap. Cheaper to replace. And it's flat as hell. Nothing's as flat as this, so I don't have to worry about sealing it over it or having a little bit of a glossy look to it. Did you get to check out the Tactical Painter's blog? No, I forgot. He made some flamethrower representations like his artillery mark that are really nice. Well, nice thing is we can do that now. So I don't forget. But I'm going to leave... why is this frozen? No, it's not. The Tactical Painter, huh? Oh, he does Chain of Command, okay, which is decent. Oh, he's got stuff in Burma. Let's see here. What's he using as a tablecloth? It looks like one of those cigar box model things. It's exactly what it looks like. I'm afraid I'm going to have to make my own. I want it to be 8 by 8. I don't want to be made of multiple. Okay, this is probably better. Let's see. Markers and aids. That's probably where it is. Chain of command. Oh, I like that fencing. Where is it listed on here? 20 millimeter terrain. Chinese National Army. Yeah, they all have the same. They're all the same pose. Like that just doesn't make it very exciting to play them. I mean, unless you're going to play the Japanese, you're going to get everybody to play Japanese and you kill a bunch of Chinese. Oh, I like that pagoda. Train station for the Far East. That train station, I believe, is the one that's available on an MDF. There's one you can buy on eBay. It looks a whole lot like it, and you probably put like a different roof or something on there. There's the old Airfix um, set for that. Yeah, yeah. These are those MDF buildings. Okay, you sent me a link. Okay, cool. These are those MDF buildings that are available from eBay that are actually pretty affordable. They come from China or something like that. The shipping's like almost like nothing to them at all, and yeah, it looked pretty good. Sarissa Village Church. Yeah, we need a church at some point. This rubble building looks really good. It might be a little hard to get a figure to stand in there, but looks wise, I'd be pretty happy with that. Okay, let's see what you sent me. Oh yeah, I've seen these type of things made with. I think it's made out of clumps, isn't it? It didn't look bad. See what I come up with. See what I come up with. I still have this. I'll get there. I just gotta stay on track. I don't. After I do this scenario, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I know I'm painting this infantry, but I don't have to do this next. These guys are done, and I can't really show them off because the basing looks like crap. Um, I would love to do. Um, I would love to do scenarios around the City Rizet airfield with just like wrecks galore. But wrecks are more work than other stuff. Yeah. So what's coming in the mail? Uh, I got a couple S model Crusaders that I found out that they were really. I don't know what the hell's going on with S model, but there's a couple of companies that just don't seem like they want to be selling their products out. And S model is one of them. They're hard to get, and so is Pegasus. Certain like it's not like they don't make any more S models. It's certain models. It's certain kits of those S models that and Pegasus ones that are hard to get. For the Pegasus, it's those. It's the KV2s. That KV2 set's impossible to get. Well, I have enough now, um, but for the S models, I found out that those Crusader they make two of the Crusaders. They make one that has um, the close support, the 3 inch gun in it, the 3 inch. They used it for HE and smoke, and they may have only used it for smoke in the desert. I'll have to look into that. I think you can build a regular Crusader out, a regular 2 pounder Crusader out of it as well. But I found out it was out of print, and somebody was selling one for $14. It ended up being like $12 or something like that before taxes was shipping for two vehicles. Like that's pretty damn cheap. Um, that's pretty damn cheap. And with taxes, it ended up being like $14 for two vehicles. That's $7 for two vehicles. And I like S model. The hatches don't open on them, but that's fine. I mean, but it should have been here on Wednesday. The post office is still delivering. I wonder what that's going to transfer. I'm not worried about it because between buying it through eBay and paying for it through PayPal, I'm covered. You know, I can get my money back. I want my stuff. I don't want the money back. So I need to just not worry about it, forget about it. It'll all straighten itself out. I'm not worried about it. And that's all these Germans painted, right? On the base? Yeah. That's why when I did the partisans, they I just did them from scratch. But there's no point in not retrofitting these German figures before I paint more. Okay, so that's done. I'm going to rinse this off. We're going to change this water. We're going to take a little bit of a bathroom break, and we'll be back in about 5 minutes. Should be able to do all that within 5 minutes. I will be right back. Since we're back on the computer, we can do this. It's about 5 minutes, something like that. Let's take a look at these guys close up. See what we got here. Okay, it's not frozen, is it? No, I guess it's not. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at these guys. These should dry in no time, but no reason really to be pushing on that. So, how good is the video there? Let's set something up. And I did this the other day. You know, a couple more things now really to kind of fool with, because I kind of need to see. I need to like set up this town to see what else. I know I got to do more roadways. I got to do more of the paved roadways. So let's get rid of this. Let's bring some of these buildings out here. And let's move this stuff. Usual suspects. Obviously, we do this on a much larger area than this, but I think we should be able to get the point across. Let's move these clowns out of the way. All right. So we've got this building that we were playing with the other day. If I do this right, I won't lose any of these bricks. This happens. Okay, and this is the one that goes up here. And say across the street from that, we've got the butcher shop. Which is this one? Is this? These things are hard to figure out which base goes on which one. Here it is. Yeah, I would set this up on a table. I just need to know how many more of these I need to make. At the minimum. Because I believe all the bases are done. This is the interesting one with the... That's the garage there. Type of entryway. I've got 3. How many of these road things do I have? I have 2 of them, don't I? Or do I just make 1? That would be silly, just to have made 1. So no for, yeah, here's the other one. Oh, here's the road that we actually used yesterday. The other day. Yeah, that has the bricks. So we could just take some of those bricks. found a use for this brush. Yep. This is not how you want to do it, but they're already here. So we got 2 of these. Obviously I can't show all this on the table. Another one would go here. I believe I've got 6 buildings. So that one could come equivalent over on this side. And then what do I have left? I got 2 more. I got 2 more. I got these 2 as well. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to create 2 more pieces like this one, and then I'm going to do the end pieces. So that if I need them, I have that available. And of course, this is just going to have buildings down the road. Not going to be any, if I want to go that route, I don't necessarily have everything that works that way, but we can make one that like tees off as well. Okay, so I'm going to make 2 more. Let's see if I can condense this stuff so we're not using up this entire table over on this end. Because in the scenario that I've got, it's just kind of small roads. It would be like, this. And the only problem with that is you've got this sidewalk that leads up to a dirt road, and the dirt road's not really compatible with the sidewalk. It doesn't really look right, but, not too worried about that. So we're going to do 2 more road sections like these, and then we're going to have the ones that taper down to the dirt road, okay? But as you can see, this looks pretty darn decent. If you've got, these guys don't have tufts on them yet, but pretty darn decent. I got lots more sticks to populate this stuff with. I don't know if you guys can even tell on that video that it looks like what it looks like. And that's without it being on a ground. So I do need at some point to set something up and just see how it kind of looks all together. See if I can take a photo of this, and you just have to picture the stuff in the background doesn't exist there. That looks pretty fucking decent. The bricks was definitely the way to go, the loose bricks. And that's without me having little, I'm going to have some that are almost like off-white and small, in a couple different places, and then I'll have to pick those out and so they can, get sorted out somewhere differently. Maybe something that's like, maybe like the color of these like tiles and stuff, but we're not going to do actual tiles. The tiles just miraculously disappear. At some point you have to say, okay, well that's enough of that, that's too much, but all right, let's put this back so I can monitor it. I think this is working pretty well. Luckily, I don't know what's going on with the internet the other day, but it was something that was out of my control. I didn't do anything different, and it looks like we're back to working okay. All right, so let's move this stuff out of the way. Now we know what we need to produce. We're going to make 2 more sections like this and do the one that tapers down as well. Okay, so I don't want any of these falling on the floor of this room because they're going to end up getting lost. They won't be able to be reused. So if they're on here, they're fine. Let's not bring the figures with us. Nothing good can come from that. I don't feel the need to buy furniture and shit like that. Put paintings on the walls and stuff like that on these destroyed buildings. If they were in good shape, I might feel the need to do that. Whether or not I would do it would be a totally different matter, but Doesn't need to look like it's just like devoid of detail. Okay. So 2 more of those. Now, I believe I'm going to have to use a completely new sheet for this, right? I believe 2 of these fit on here. This is exactly half. That would make sense. MDF smells good. Happy smell. So do the Litco stands, that burnt laser cutting smell. Some things people are burning these days doesn't smell good, but the laser cutting stuff isn't one of them. Okay, so we're going to need this for sure. How many more pieces of this do we have? I might just make another set. Well, we're going to have 4 of these. No, that's enough. That's enough. And it doesn't have to be precise. Try to get it as close as we can. Gotta make sure this is tight though. This likes to unscrew itself. This is the least messy way to do this. Let's do one more. And do the same thing over here. All right, thank you. And so this is going to get sealed. I'm also going to make the ones that taper to the smaller roads. So there's no point in using a new sheet for that. I've got some pieces parts here that should work nicely. First thing I want to do is I'm going to get this one. See if this is the same width or a similar width, because this totally could be used for a taper section. So I could probably make both of the taper sections out of this. This is a true edge, so we're going to leave that one as the true edge. And we're going to go, where is my, where's my tool? Spent so many years not having one of these because they're too expensive to buy. Okay. We want 4-inch width, which I'd done this metric, but this isn't a metric. So we're going to cut the 4 inches off. So this, want to use that as a true edge. Unfortunately, I'm going to be left with a piece that I don't really have a whole lot of use for. This is one of the advantages of like being nearsighted. Now I can just like, you know, attention to detail. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're looking at here. One, 2, 3, 4. I could just use this edge, but this work area is a little restrictive. I'm not going to complain about my work area. I'm pretty lucky in having what I have. Let's check it again. Yep, right there. Okay. I like this because I've kind of kicked ass doing this, and this is my first time doing something like this. I wasn't sold on the sidewalks until I actually like weathered them with the wash. I did like that brown wash over them, and then with the bricks, and they look pretty decent now. That doesn't mean that, you know, I might just want to doctor them up some more at some point, but for the time being, it looks pretty good. I don't want to have buildings you just dry brush and you're done with, and I also don't want ones that take, you know, 120 hours to paint each. We've gone all the way through. Nice. Now, if I cut this in half, is this just an arbitrary length, or this actually has something to do with it? No, it actually falls on the inch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So I'm going to cut this in 4 and 4. Now I should be able to do something like this. Should have put something on here like true edge. We know this is factory made, straight. So let's cut this in half. This will be cool if I can pull it off. I'll be able to. I've done lots of stuff that I didn't know how well it was going to turn out. I'm pretty confident this will turn out okay. I love working with this MDF material. It's just durable enough. It's inexpensive. I can cut it with an X-Acto knife. It's thin. It's been really good in the warp or the non-warping department. And I don't mind doing this, but you know, you have to understand that you can't have a timetable. Can't be like, we gotta get this done by a certain time. Like, no, we're not doing that. So this is the true edge. So we're going to use this as the side that's going to butt into this. Okay, because this is a true edge as well. In other words, this is the length of the piece. So this is factory made, and so is this one. Okay, so it's going to line up as good as you can possibly get them to line up. For the most part. Okay, there's always some imperfections. going to do the true edges are going to tie into this. So we're going to go from this width, and we're going to taper down to the width of the dirt road. So I don't need to grab a section that's really, really big. One of these smaller ones will do just fine. So we're going to taper to this. Now how are we going to do that? Well, I could just do an arbitrary, I could come in like this, or, do it gradual. The problem with it being gradual, at some point, this is all dirt and this is all asphalt, right? This is what it's going to look like. So we're going to go from this width to this width here. Without being real anal retentive and trying to figure out where it falls on a building, I think I would rather have more asphalt than not. So I'm thinking something like that. I mean, I could go really crazy, but I think something like that would probably work. Because we have a building that's going to end here. Yeah, I think that's probably okay. I think that's probably okay. And I don't know that I need to be that anal retentive about it. Well, let's use some dimensions that make sense, okay? This just happens to be the same width as this. So we really laying down on the job. So let's use this length. And of course, this actually doesn't need to be that precise. If it's imperfect a little bit, that's fine. You've seen the kind of work that road crews do. They can't even put a straight line on some of these places. So we're going to do something like this. And then what will happen is I'm going to cover this entire thing with asphalt. And then as we get closer, some of these dirt colors will transfer on here, like, dirty tire track kind of shit, Okay? So we need to make one section over here and another section just the same or similar. So this is the true edge. Okay? Let's put the true edge in the same place, which means, okay, I'm going to mark it like that and mark it like so. Mark it here, mark it there. And this should match up. Okay. Now, this uses one finish material. This is a different one. We got to seal it before anything else. How are we running the vacuum in here today? Why are you twisting on me? Why can't you twist the other way, damn it? You know, we're going to trim this out and then we'll go and put a new blade on there and clean that up a little bit. I actually don't necessarily want them to be perfect. My daughter forced me to watch a little bit of the opening ceremony yesterday, which was kind of silly because it wasn't live anyways. And I'm wondering, I'm surprised, I didn't watch all of it, but the first thing that I noticed, and those of you guys that are gamers probably noticed it as well, is the homage. I even said it the French way. The homage to Assassin's Creed. And that one character is dressed just like the Assassin's Creed. What is it? Unity? I think it's what that one's called. That's the one that actually came free with no additional charge with my Xbox One. When I got it, I played it at some. The French Revolution one. That guy's just, that parkour guy was just like that. And the announcers didn't make a reference to that. Maybe they did at the very end, but I watched it. The commercials were killing me. I was like dying by commercial. I just like, you know, we can just watch this at another time without commercials. We were playing a name the flag game with that flag's pretty cool. That's, we didn't make it very long. I swear I watched it for like an hour and a half, and we only made it to like Chile. I think Chile was the last one that we saw. I was like, man, it was taking forever to get through the alphabet. I didn't mention anything about that Assassin's Creed. I'm like, that looks like my dude, whatever his name was. I've only ever played 3 of those. The French Revolution one, the pirate one. Yikes. We don't want that there. Man. My shit damaged. And what's the other one? The Greek one. To see the atrocious can-can dancing. Yes, I thought it was horrendous. That wasn't as bad. Yes, I saw that. That's about when I stopped watching it. It was bad. I told my daughter, it's like, those costumes were made like, we got somebody on our team that has cankles. So let's put those things on everybody's legs so it looks like everybody's got cankles. Yeah, it was bad. And I hated the Gaga performance. It's this chaotic freaking jazz shit, But I didn't want to watch it at all. My daughter, let's watch it, Daddy. Okay. And then I'm like, well, if we're going to watch this other movie, we're running out of time. I ended up like not being able to finish the other movie because I have a habit of falling asleep after 10 o'clock. Like, I can't take it anymore. Mr. Skylab, welcome. I'm making the pieces that are going to taper from the asphalt to the dirt. And I'm making more asphalt. So in other words, the dirt roads will tie into here. And these will fit like so. This will be asphaltic up to somewhere in here, and then it'll blend. The 2 colors will blend together. Sounds good in theory. We'll see how it works. I've never done this before. Uh-oh, how did that happen? Let's get that drawer open. Magnets. Where the hell are the X-Acto blades? There we go. They're not in there at all. X-Acto blades. There aren't X-Acto blades. I wanted to order them. They just... too expensive. They're too expensive, even through Amazon and stuff, like in bulk. Nope. Sorry about these. Actually, you know what happened? I was going to buy them, and the X-Acto blades are also made in China. Like, well, if they're going to be made in China, I might as well not pay a lot of money for them. Yeah, so she wanted to watch that. I really had no interest in watching. The Olympic Games, I don't know how your coverage is over there. Here, they have a hard-on for showing everything that the United States is involved in, and like nobody else. You know? So, I don't think I'm going to watch any of the events. Even the, what's the one I like? Pole vaulting. Yeah. I like seeing women with female-ish faces. So that really limits the events that I'm interested in seeing. Is Russia competing, or did they get shunned by all this? Oh, we made it to China, because I remember saying that. Look, there's the fucking enemy. I hope those guys lose every one of them. It's like, oh, they have the big synchronized swimming team. I said, I hope they all drowned. Nah, there's some probably decent people there, but, you know. Fuck China. Okay. Even though I'm going to cut that down anyways. Oh, you know what? I know what it was. I was already tuning out. I left when they did like some heavy metal thing with Marie Antoinette, a bunch of Marie Antoinettes and windows, and it was like French heavy metal. And I remember making the joke. I said, "French heavy metal? What's that sound like?" Yeah, yeah. How do you scream in like a in a French nasally voice like that? They introduced South Korea as North Korea and had to apologize afterwards. They only had one job to do. Let's find people that are really bad at geography that will announce this. Okay. Let's do a check. Before we waste all, I mean, I'm sure it's fine. We were pretty careful with this. Okay, so we're going to cut this so that we've got as a chamfer. And the same thing over here. And this will tie in directly into the road section. Is Russia playing? You know what I hate about Russia? It's not what you think. You know what I hate about Russia? When the Soviet Union fell, they should have gone to a flag that was based on the St. Andrew's cross. Not their tricolor bullshit with a white up top. It looks... Fuck. No, what's wrong with their flag? The red and the blue touch. That's what it is. It just, you know... Well, they broke all the rules of heraldry. Heraldry wasn't established for those over there, but... Red and blue can't touch, man. You got to have a white or yellow in between them. But the naval jack... The Russian naval jack is almost kind of like it looks like a Union Jack, but it doesn't have a stripe inside the other stripe. It looks really good. That's what they should have gone with. But under a neutral banner. What happens if they win a medal? What anthem are they going to play? Don't worry, be happy? There's that. They were banned for doping. Well, that's a problem. Yeah, you can't have that. But I'm sure somebody got through anyways. But I think I was talking to my daughter about it because my daughter was a synchronized swimmer. She did that as well. She went to the Junior Olympics here in Colorado a couple years ago, and I swear there was not a synchronized swimming event in the Olympics. I mean, I'm sorry, if there's fucking curling, that's not a sport. That's scrubbing the fucking floor, right? I'm expecting some terrorist thing to happen. I don't want it to happen, but that's just super profile. It's not like that's never happened at the Olympics before. I'm just saying. Yeah, it looks pretty good. All right, so now the least pleasant part of this entire experience is we got to seal this stuff. I don't feel like getting that big old. Yeah, there's no reason to ruin something else. There's no reason to ruin something else. Okay. So we need to use this, and I don't think I need to go grab one of them foam pad things from the garage. Hey, don't diss my favorite Winter Olympic rock throwing sport. It just shouldn't be a sport, you know? I mean, DBA should be a sport, if that's a sport. You know? What's next? Chess? Hell, they might actually do chess. What other sporting events are stupid? Basketball. I think it's ridiculous thinking that professional basketball players can play on a national. I don't know. It just seems dumb. Like, you know. It'd be like if I'm able to compete in like a kid's child. You know, we're gonna have an art show, and in the fifth grade, and people that aren't in the fifth grade can compete. I'm like, well, I ought to shoe in for that one. Curling is a great way to teach laws of physics. I don't know. They should just do stuff that was available in Greece. Like if they didn't play it in the ancient games, you don't get to play it in the Olympic games, right? Like in ancient Greece, first of all, there was no ice, but you know, say it was something else, you know, some marble floor. Did they lube up a marble floor and guys would bend over and people, yeah, they probably did, but if it involves bending over, it happened in Greece. All right, I'll be right back. All right, that took a little bit longer than planned. The girls are up and they're getting ready to leave, so that would mean no Winter Olympics. What's no Winter Olympics? Oh, games. I've always liked the Winter Olympics. Yeah, I haven't watched it much ever since the Cold War supposedly ended. I haven't really watched the Olympics. I want to say the last one I watched at any length at all was Sarajevo. What was that, 88? Something like that. You know, Soviet Union fell. It's like, that was like basically a war, what was happening. You know, now it's like, you know, they do so much footage. Maybe they do it in other countries here, but it's like, you know, you want to see all the stuff and they break to like show like some private story about some American athlete. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I mean, I don't care about that stuff, you know. I'm not exactly the how'd that open this last time? Oh yeah, the end of this thing. I'm not exactly a demographic they're looking for stuff. I don't want personal stories about athletes. And it's funny, you know. I told my daughter, I said, yeah, they test everybody for doping except Snoop Dogg. He was high as a kite when it was something where he was right walking with a microphone. I'm like, man, that dude's way happier than he should be for what he's saying. Oh man. Okay. So we need to cover this, and then we're going to take this and then move it somewhere else. And then we'll go on to whatever it is that we're going to do next, which I don't know what that is. So. It snows in Greece. It snows in Greece. I like the Winter Olympics only because it's exotic, you know? It's like another planet for us. The term they use is the term they use here is flag shagger for people that are only interested in their own country stuff. Well played, sir. Yeah, I mean, it's cool to be interested in your country's stuff, but, you know, you need to play against somebody. You know, be like there's people that all they do is they paint Germans, and they don't paint anybody else. Like, they gotta fight somebody, you know? Flag shagger. You bloody flag shagger. Yeah. I run into somebody that only plays World War II and only want to play Americans, I'm gonna call them a flag shagger. I don't want to live anywhere else. Don't get me wrong, but, you know. You guys have some great fucking sayings. I love it. Yeah, did they do that over there in Europe as well? It's like, come on, man. I don't care about a snippet of the. What else isn't a sport? What else shouldn't be a sport? Oh, we're gonna go fucking deep dive. It's pissed some people off. Olympic sport list. Golf. golf shouldn't be Olympic sport. You're walking around playing with your balls, you know? That should not be an Olympic sport. You know? When they play golf traditionally, they wear skirts. Greeks didn't wear skirts. What else? Judo. Judo is like a new thing, isn't it? It's relative new addition. Oh, it's got Arctic stuff in here as well. Okay. Biathlon, luge, tennis, fencing, handball. Oh, badminton. Oh, yes. I'd like some crumpets with that. Why don't they have croquet? So, there's certain things I would refuse to play ever. I don't like to watch them, and they give me the freaking nerve. I'd have a nervous breakdown if I tried to play it, regardless of how shitty I would do at it. And ping pong's one of those things. I can't handle it. You know, it's like way too rushed. Way too rushed. Sport climbing. Surfing shouldn't be an Olympic sport. Sorry. Rugby sevens sounds like the name of a bar. Well, I'll meet you over at Rugby Sevens in a while. All right. Ben, have you seen that post that was on Facebook? It came on Facebook about 4 or 5 years ago, where these people in England had built their own pub in their backyard, like a little 10-foot by 10-foot pub. Fucking amazing. Drinking's not even an important part of my life, and I want one. Except it'd be a real conflict whether or not I would make it Irish theme, Mexican theme, or German theme. And it's not big enough to do one area of each. Taekwondo, but they already have judo. Soccer, don't you guys play that all the time on the side anyways? Skeleton, what the F is skeleton? I don't know it by that name. Military patrol. There's breakdancing? Exactly one new sport will be making its debut at the Paris Olympics, breaking, an evolution of the phenomenon of b-boys whirling and spinning in the... I have a feeling Russia won't be placing really well in that one. Have the breaking finales happened yet? That pub thing is one of the best things I've ever seen on the internet. That's truly amazing. Truly amazing. It'd almost be worth becoming an alcoholic. Nah, you can enjoy the place and, and not drink too much. That'd be like, being a chef and not being overweight. Yeah, I don't think that would work for me. Breakdancing. Good morning, Jeffrey. Golf's not an Olympic sport. I don't think it's a sport. You're swinging at stuff. I mean, golf is just basically long range pool. Open air pool. And so many people that want, hey, you going to go play golf? I said, I'm not white enough to play golf. Sorry. I don't think I'd enjoy it. And it's expensive. Why would you want to play golf in Florida? Maybe in Scotland, right? At least that's the weather for it. Here? Hell no. Oh, is it because there's alligators in Florida? I tell you what, I've lived here my whole life. I've never encountered an alligator somewhere that I was not expecting it. I'm not just walking around, oh, look, there's an alligator and there shouldn't be one. Nope. I've encountered a venomous snake once that way. A long walk spoiled. There you go. Hold on one second. Okay, that was a warning that we're going to have a blender attack of the blender here. I'll probably, well, you'll know what it is. But they're leaving for the rest of the show for sure. So I don't plan on cutting off anytime soon unless you guys have a problem with that. You have a 9-hole foot golf course beside the municipal golf course. So the town that I lived in, which I'm still 15 minutes from it, but nonetheless, they had 5 golf courses. And all of them went out of business. No, one of them is run by the city, and it's in a shady part of town. The other one got bought out by somebody else. One was in the hoity-toity place. Oh, here we go. The one in the hoity-toity neighborhood got bought out by somebody else, and it's kind of not what it used to be. So I've heard. The one that's called Gainesville Country Club, it actually closed down. So you got a country club with no golf course. We have another one that was right by where I used to live in a good part of town. It closed. And they just, when a golf course closes, you'll notice how much fertilizer and care goes into keeping things the way they're supposed to look. Because just a few months afterwards, it is like a jungle. And like 2 years later, it's like you can't even see across the golf course. That just tells you how much, the birds come there and poop and whatever, and things grow that aren't supposed to be growing there. And it just, if you don't keep Mother Nature under wraps, she'll, it'll be like that. It'll be like those temples and stuff. They found out a couple of years ago, there's all kinds of stuff, well, they probably find it all the time, that in Honduras and stuff, there's like not whole civilizations, but there was whole like Mayan stuff that they hadn't even found yet. It was all swallowed up by the jungle. I love that Florida has alligators as additional water traps. Nothing like golfing with prehistoric meat-eating predators. I've never been scared of them. Of course, I'm not wallowing in their pond either, You know what I am scared of? And I don't do a whole lot of going into the bushes stuff. I don't do any of it at all. I'm civilized, for God's sake. Hogs. Hogs just scare the crap out of me. You can't take one out with a pistol. It's not like, well, I'll just bring my pistol with me if I'm going around in the... You can't take one out. You gotta... bears would be a problem too, but we don't really have those here. Of course, I think you could just deal with a bear with just having bring a bunch of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and throw them out. I'm pretty sure you could that would work better than bear spray. But when we went, you got bears over in your land there, Skylab, but when we went to Canada last winter, we went on a night hike through a canyon. And it sounds a lot more rustic than it is. It's basically like the equivalent of like one of our state parks. Like there's trails and stuff, and go over here, follow this trail to go to this place. There's signage and stuff like that. Really well maintained, like really well maintained, and but still, it was in the middle of the night, and we're like in this group, and I tell the person that's leading our group, is this girl, and she's probably, I don't know, 110 pounds wet, and probably 20 years old, 21, 22, not more than 23 or 24. And I said, I know that bear. This was it in December? I think it was in December. Yeah, it was in December, late December. I said, I know bears are hibernating, but what about wolves? What do you guys got anything in case we encounter any wolves? And the first thing she said is, I never really thought about that. I'm like, well, we're from America, so like normally we would be like, if we're in the woods somewhere, we're gonna be fucking armed. Like, it may not save my life, but I'm gonna have my say in it. I never really thought about that. How can you not really think about that? You don't you like encounter that? I don't even watch the news, and you encounter like people that die in ways that they should not have died. I'm like, that's not going to be me. And if it is, I'm taking somebody with me. I'm taking one of those wolves with me. Never really thought about that. Really? That's like the first thing I think about. Anyways, it was a super cool experience, and we were in a group of like 14, and like 4 other groups came at once. So I'm like, nah, there's a lot of people here that could be tastier than me. So we'll be all right. It was a cool experience, but like, if I'm in the woods where there's like predatory animals, yeah, I'm gonna be armed. I'm gonna be armed to the teeth. I'm not worried about people. I'm worried about critters, man. Most people go to work and stuff, and pay our taxes, and we don't have time for actively hunt. That's yeah, we don't. Oh, we're gonna have to take some of this crap off because this is. Wolves are today's version of velociraptors. Oh, don't ruin a dinosaur movie with velociraptors. I don't go to dinosaur movies to see things that are that small. But yeah, they're a problem. We have a neighborhood that's right next to ours that's being built, and a couple of months ago, I decided to go over there for a walk. I was walking alone. It's basically undeveloped, but there's road there, so it's like paved and stuff, and fairly illuminated. I think at that time it wasn't so illuminated, but I encountered another. I was walking around and I heard this sound that I never heard before. Boy, this is thick. I heard this sound I never heard before, and I'm like, well, that's interesting. It sounded like a bunch of teenagers, like on freaking mushrooms or something like that, laughing. And just about then, I encountered another couple. They were walking as well, and I said, man, what's that sound? Was the kids playing over there? So, oh, that's coyotes. I'm like, what? That is the strangest sound I've ever heard in my life. Because apparently coyotes are everywhere, but they're extremely skittish. But they're just like a dog, so, 9mm is more than sufficient to take out coyotes. So, therefore, I don't really worry about them a whole lot. But, yeah, I don't think about it. I guess they're everywhere. We've got a couple dogs in this neighborhood that, for some reason, the owners, and I've said this before, dog owners now are a lot better than when I was a kid. I remember so many times when I was a kid being chased down by freaking dogs and stuff like we were riding a bike. Not even at night or anything, just in the middle of the day. That just doesn't happen anymore. Well, we're out walking the other day, or I was actually riding my bike a couple of months ago, and there's these 2 dogs almost across the street, and they exit to the neighborhood, so I kind of have to go by them. They were like freaking loose, and I'm like, that's something I haven't really encountered anymore. If I'm not, I know there's some people that we know here that Utah Raptors is Utah official state dinosaur, and the person that named that should be castrated because that is just lazy ass naming. And the only reason I know about the Utah Raptors is because I was playing that Jurassic Park freaking Pokemon type game, and they came across like, this can't be a real dinosaur. Lazy ass naming. I got a PhD. Yeah, you couldn't even make a C in advertising. The fuck out of here. All right, I'm gonna go rinse this because I'd like to reuse this thing. Be right back. We don't have an official state dinosaur. We've got a natural history museum here in town. We've got like a prehistoric sloth or something like that. Whatever it's called. Whatever the hell the thing's called. Yeah, I'd love that. I talked about playing the dinosaur game. I even painted my. You've seen my Stegosaurus, haven't you? Where is she? Turned out pretty well. I'm pretty happy with it. It's just a plastic toy, repainted. Completely repainted. So yeah, I got an Ankylosaurus and what's the other one that I have? I bought a 3-pack of them and I only painted one. Hey, that's not so bad. But yeah, it'd be a fun game to do that. You know, you got a dinosaur and his baby, got to make it across the board. But I can't do everything. So anything I decide to sidetrack and not do this means this takes even longer from happening. But it is a ton of fun and a huge time waster to look for dinosaurs online. You know, the models, whatever, toys. I guess there's toys. They're pretty decent toys. Just repaint them. I actually have a set of rules for dinosaur combat. Is it even in here? I think it may be. Maybe I took it out of the binder. So I'm like, well, I'm not going to play this anytime soon. Called Cretaceous. It's available on, I don't know, Drive-Through RPG or something like that. Whatever it's called. Whatever the one is called that's not RPG. I don't do RPG stuff. Last time I played a role-playing game, Reagan was president. And pretty much don't need to play an RPG. So, what the F do we do now? Well, I tell you one thing we can do. No, I'm not going to get into that because I said I could lay out a battle and just see what all the stuff looks like. Let's put some tufts on these krauts. How'd that get stuck here? That's not one of my hairs. If you live with people that have longer hair, you'll find that stuff's everywhere. Not everywhere, but you know, in places you don't expect to find it. Like on a paint rack. Okay, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 or so guys. These are all the ones that are, or we can put more goop on these folks. Yeah, here's an American guy done all the way through. Well, I didn't paint the edge of them. This is Davis. He doesn't look worth a shit. And you're not going to see it worth a shit on the video. But I did run out of these the Litco things. I didn't reorder them. Let me think of while I'm thinking about that. Let's put this over here. Litco bases. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this on a phone. Bases and trays. Specialty bases, custom miniature bases and base bottoms. Heavy duty magnetic base bottoms. That's what we want. Okay. And I believe it is that's 20 millimeter square, 25 millimeter circular. I believe it's 20 millimeter circular. We're going to check that. Give me a metric thing. No, they're a slight bit smaller than that. I think they might have a US penny size. If not, I could just cut the edges. They may not make. One inch circular. 1 inch isn't going to work if 20 millimeter doesn't work. 1 inch is bigger. Now you got 0.75 of an inch. That's too many options. Let's go to the dumb end of the. Wow, that might actually be the size. And then 20 mil looks like, yeah, it's like 18 mil, I think is what it is. 3/4 might actually be better. Heavy duty 100 for $18. No shipping included. Man, they got a lot of options. You know, I don't really need them because I'm not traveling with the figures. However, if I put them on all these trays to move them out to the garage, it's handy that they're not going to tip over. All right, I'm going to leave this on the screen. That'll remind me I need to order them, but I'm probably going to do it through the computer. So that'll be a reminder. I forgot about it the other day. And we kind of need that. So these guys would need Well, a couple things. They're going to need to. We're not going to. We're not going to go into that. That is a slippery. That's a slippery ass slope. That's a slippery ass slope. Because I'd have to take. This is like, for instance, this guy is based completely in the '90s way. So I would have to come in here, and I've done that. I did that with all these other figures, and actually scrape this stuff off as best I can, and then go apply the goop on top of it. And yeah. So we've got the roads drying. That shouldn't take that long. I have enough time to do the tufts, and then put the goop on top of the roads, let that dry, and then we can call it a day. All right. So let's go to Tufflandia, which is a very convoluted place. I need my glasses for this, because I have a ton of tufts. But we want a method to the madness. We have quite a few. So I think with this one, I want to pick two different ones. And it's not going to be the swampy one. We're not going to use that. Probably not going to be this one. It's usable for other things. This is kind of a desert-like one. Also not. Let's eliminate what we're definitely not going to use. This, I believe, is what I used for that. So I'll leave this out. That's for jungle. Those are too bright. Why do I have this container but nothing's in it? Bye-bye. Wasteland and Winter Tufts, they're almost the same. Okay, here's another option. No, we're not going to use the one with it. These are all pretty much a solid light color. What do we got here that, let's see what this color is. Let's see. These are really good for a desert. Oh, these are bright green. That'd probably be all right. Let's see. Those aren't replaceable though, so I gotta be really careful. Those are a pain to get. They gotta be sourceable. I ended up not liking these huge miniatures one because even though they're nice, the bottoms of them are like hard. So they're like hard to put them at. Of course, that's what I said they were. Yeah, I think that a few of these and most of those. And one of these days I gotta experiment with this. Acrylic paints. For backgrounds. But honestly, the craft paint's working just fine painting backgrounds with that. Okay. It's not bright enough. That's not popping enough. I think that's why I picked the ones that have the lighter colors. Let's see, I may not want to use these. I might have to rethink this. I'm only going to put like one or two on each one at the most. Dinosaurs was the first thing I was into ever as a kid. I think that's probably really common. But we didn't have cool dinosaur stuff growing up. You know, we had to deal with like iguanas with like freaking stuff stuck to them, like Journey to the Center of the Earth, or what was that stupid show from the 70s? I don't know, it doesn't really narrow it down. Land of the Lost. That was a horrible show. But you know, I was like 7, so I didn't give a shit. I guess the internet's working okay today for you guys. That's good. Never know how it's going to play out. Yeah, maybe I am going to do that. You know, I could paint some of the edges of the. Let's try one. Worst case scenario, I'll replace it. I really don't have much of a history of having to replace tufts. I don't like how they look. Now I don't remember if I dull coated this guy, so I may have to come back and dull coat him. Seems like it got a little bit of shine on there. I don't like dinosaurs with feathers on them. I'm old school. There's only 2 genders and dinosaurs don't have feathers. Hey, so sue me. A few years later, they'll probably be like, no, they don't have feathers at all. You know? The last time I gave up on dinosaurs, they were reptiles. Next thing I know, oh, they're related to birds. I'm like, okay, well, I got to deal with that. I don't know how I'm going to be able to sleep at night, but I guess I'll find a way. Life will find a way. Yeah, and the most basic of all dinosaurs when I was growing up, the brontosaurus. No, there's not really a brontosaurus. It's a whatever. Like, okay, I can't trust anybody anymore. You guys done messed everything up now. I went to get my hair cut yesterday in this the artsy place I go to, and they actually had a good idea. They had a bathroom, and on the bathroom it said, speaking of genders, they had in a bathroom, and the door on the bathroom door it said whichever. Perfect. That's actually I am pro that solution. You know, you shouldn't have a bathroom when you're hanging out with other people, anyways. Go in, do your plumbing stuff that you need to do in the bathroom, and get the fuck out. I'm actually a fan of that. It's a good idea. Make individual bathrooms, and you can stand up, pee, whatever the hell it was you want to do in there. You know, I support that. This guy needs a third tuft. I'm gonna look through here again. We need a few more options that aren't like arid looking, because I'm gonna run out, and there's no reason I should run out. Let's see what we got. Let's see what we got here. Okay, how bright? I think this will. Let me pull some of these out. We'll work those in, because I may have to paint the end of them in like a lighter color. This is a desert-like one, isn't it? I think it is. No, this one's really green. Okay, this is good for. This would be good for like the Nipponese. What else do we have? That's just gonna look too arid. Let's work all these colors in here. And these you almost don't even need to use glue. That's actually a really nice thing about them. That's funny. They look like they're all the same color, but once I get on my nearsightedness, no, there's some different colorations in there. We'll use one of these here. Actually, in that video that the Little Wars did on Historicon, the game that looked the most appealing to me was one where they had like the search board for like this carrier, Pacific carrier thing. That looked kind of interesting. If a Pacific naval game is the most interesting thing there, I'm like, probably don't need to go to that show. I want to put something here. And I want to put something here. Those two places. Oh, except these don't work with glue. All right, well maybe we'll give this guy a third one. That's what we'll do. By the way, just bought a very nice used DBA Polybian Roman army. Unfortunately, the blade stands are the wrong dimensions. Ugh. Now you know why they were selling it. Were they based on card as they do in jolly old England? I still got all my armies packed away. And they're not getting any dust on them. I'm not going to get rid of them. They're painted really well, so you know, it's art. That's the army I recommend everybody to buy first. Roman Carthage. Buy Roman Carthage. Everybody knows who they are. I haven't watched. There's a couple of videos flying around about the what is it? Those the Warlord epic things, or in 12mm or whatever the hell made up size they decided to do. I haven't watched any of them yet. The figures look pretty good, but I got lots of ancients and medieval still to paint with figures I really like, and I don't think I'm going to be tempted. I'm certainly not going to play a game that's put out by people that put out games and miniatures. Like, yeah, I see the writing on the wall. Like, that's going to be unsatisfactory. I don't want to run. I don't want to put my life in somebody else's hands anymore. Like, if I see a problem with the rules, I'm going to change it. We're going to play them my way. Like, I'm not going to just arbitrarily do shit. It's not like, oh, I want to change it just so because I'm on some power trip. I'm like, no, we keep playing this over and over again, and we encounter the same bullshit problems, and there's no way to solve it. Like, nope, that's not happening anymore. We won't be doing that. Yeah, that guy's only got one tuft. I was thinking something about DVA the other day, and I was trying to remember the dimensions or the distance something did, and I'm like, I'd forgotten, and it's only been 2 years, and frick, I played 3,000 freaking games of that. You think I'd remember? That's how memory is. You just forget things if you don't use it. If you don't use the information, you'll end up forgetting it. I noticed that Vallejo also makes tufts. I'm not buying any of those. I buy enough Vallejo products. They don't need me buying their tufts too. It's actually not as green as it looks like it would have been. You buy them on eBay? I assume you would have. Boy, I haven't looked at 15mm figures in a long ass time. Well, about a couple of years. Some of these are huge. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the DVA scene. I pop on Fanaticus from time to time. They seem to be arguing about a bunch of shit there frequently. Got a couple guys on there. One person in particular, whoever they happen to be, they don't use a real name or anything that you could even. Actually, it sounds like some. Their handle sounds like a something you'd spray on your crops to make sure they don't get infested by insects. But this person's always, ever since, for years, I don't think they ever came to Fanaticus until like 4 years ago or something like that. Every time they post something, they want to change the rules. I don't think this person's ever played a game. Like, you got to be a little bit more convincing. Everybody's like, basically, you're like, no, you haven't really considered this. You ever going to play the game, normal? Now, there's some people on there that just they go on places and all they do is they want to. What do you do? What do you define by dying on hills?